Now at midday, 1 year after the February winter storm, what's changed? We're hearing from ERCOT's vice chair. And in bloom, how the wine industry is massively expanding all across Texas, including here in the Brazos Valley. Your KRHD News starts right now.
Connecting the Brazos Valley, this is KRHD News Midday.
Thanks for joining us here at Midday. I'm Paige Ellenberger. College Station police are looking for a person who robbed a shopper at knife point on Thursday morning in the Walmart parking lot on Brothers Boulevard and Longmire Drive. Police say the incident occurred around 10:15 a.m. and the victim did suffer a minor injury. The suspect was seen running from the area following the robbery. If you have any information, contact CSPD at 979-764-3600. And we're just days away from the 1-year anniversary of the Texas power crisis. Since then, ERCOT rebuilt its board from the ground up, and during the 87th legislative session, laws were passed to ensure this never happens again. As ERCOT's new board members work from the top down, newly appointed Vice Chair Bill Flores says their main priorities are weatherization of generation facilities, building greater reserves, and working on communication.
We're going to try to be better communicators. So one of the challenges we had before is that we had communications breakdown among some groups of stakeholders. And so ERCOT is working well with the PUC, with our policymakers in Austin, and also with our local distribution companies and our generators to make sure everybody is on the same page.
Now, this means if the power does go out, consumers will be aware and have expectations of when it should be turned back on. While much work has been done, Flores adds the grid still faces challenges regarding fuel availability for natural gas fire generators and managing solar energy resources. Meanwhile, the wine industry here in Texas is blooming, and it's only growing more and more each day. Back in 2018, Texas was home to 352 wineries, ranking 5th in the country for the most. However, fast forward to today, that number is well over 500.
And they're coming into those smaller towns to come and taste wine and be, a wine tourist and visit. They're looking for lodging. They're looking for dining. They don't want to travel too far.
Not only are more businesses popping up, but they're bringing money with them. Research from the National Association of American Wineries shows the Texas wine industry has an over $13 billion economic impact. And the statewide gas price average here in Texas is $3 for a gallon of regular unleaded fuel. That's according to AAA Texas Weekend Gas Watch. That price is 4 cents more than last week and is 89 cents more per gallon compared to this day last year. Drivers in El Paso are paying the most on average at $3.29 per gallon, while drivers in Amarillo are paying their least at $2.90 per gallon. The national average price for a gallon of regular gas is $3.35. And AAA Texas does have some tips to save money on fuel. Make sure your tires are properly maintained and inflated to the correct level. Maintain your car according to the manufacturer's recommendations. Regular service will ensure optimum fuel economy. Avoid jackrabbit starts and hard accelerations. These actions greatly increase fuel consumption. Slow down and drive the speed limit. Use cruise control on the highway to help maintain a constant speed and save fuel, and minimize your use of air conditioning. Speaking of air conditioning, Josh, are we going to have to turn up the AC in the cars this weekend, or what?
Probably not too much unless you turn on the AC when it reaches 70, because we'll be warming up towards 70 here as we go into the weekend. Radar right now showing you things are quiet, not only here, but across a large part of the Lone Star State. There's some showers down across the Rio Grande Valley, but we have northerly winds bringing in drier air here as we've gone through the middle of the day, and that'll continue into the afternoon and honestly into the weekend as well. There's the sunshine right now on the Extra Co, Eagle Eye, and Bryan College Station. Temperature at 50 degrees. It feels like 50 with humidity at 44%. Winds are out of the north, currently at around 17 miles per hour, so that makes it feel like it's in the low 40s and even some upper 30s out there. So you still want the jacket as you're heading off to lunch, and you might need it all day because we'll deal with temperatures that are in the mid to upper 50s and those north winds making it feel like the low 50s going through the day. Winds currently blowing around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Again, that continues as we go through the rest of the afternoon. We'll see the potential for a freeze overnight, and then as we head into your Saturday, look at the sunshine that'll be placed on Saturday. That sunshine pumping us up into the 60s along with that southwesterly wind. And by Sunday, we'll keep that around as well with cloud cover they'll try to work in a little bit on Sunday. Our next storm system rolls in on Monday. This will bring us a pretty good chance of showers and thunderstorms coming up for your Monday, about a 60 to 70% shot. That one gets out of the way, and then we're watching our next system coming in. And what's new with the models here over this latest run is we are now getting colder air coming in a little faster, or at least timing out with the precipitation a little bit more. So again, we'll have to monitor this chance that we could see maybe some sleet, some snow mix in with some rainfall with our next cold front that comes in here by the middle of the week. Of course, we're going to monitor it for you through the weekend. Stay tuned for updates, and we'll let you know what's going on with that. Still a long ways out. Still a lot can change. Upper 50s here today. Normally should be around 63. Then tonight dropping down into the low 30s. You're going to deal with a freeze overall, so bring in the pets and the plants. Don't have to worry about the pipes. So 66 Saturday, 68 on Sunday. Here comes that big cool down, though. 63 to highs in the 30s and the 40s Friday and Saturday. It's going to be downright chilly for the second part of the week.
We have to change the story here.
In Michigan, there's a bill on the table to charge gun owners who don't properly store their firearms. A sensitive debate for Michiganders who saw Oxford high school students go back to school this week for the first time since a deadly shooting there in November.
They're a little bit anxious, but I think it's just going to take some time as they get into a routine.
The shooter at that school got the gun from his parents, who kept it in a sock drawer. In Wisconsin, it's a different story. A bill is on the table to let adults take guns to school property in their car, while in Arizona, a state senator is pushing to let college students conceal carry on campus.
I would be less apt to inflict harm if I knew that other students might be carrying to protect themselves.
Studies have shown that's not always true, and the police chief at Arizona State University thinks it's a recipe for disaster.
And I'm here to tell you firsthand experience that university students make very poor decisions on a daily basis, sometimes hourly basis.
Further west, San Jose leaders are taking a different approach, requiring gun owners buy liability insurance and pay an annual fee to a group that will work to end gun violence. Already garnering legal pushback, it's a brand new kind of gun control in a country seeing upticks of gun violence across the board and a president pivoting to solve it.
Consuming information in a digital echo chamber can make it easier to fall prey to misinformation and conspiracy.
People need to be aware, just as aware, of their own biases when they consume information.
Helen Lee Bouygues is the president of the Reboot Foundation, an organization focused on critical thinking and combating misinformation. She says their research shows that while 95% of people believe they're adept at identifying fake news, only 1% of them use tools to verify the information they're consuming.
There's a problem in the link between people understanding that social media is going to charge you up, and yet people feel very comfortable that they're very capable of identifying fake news.
Two examples she points to are the January 6th insurrection and continued misinformation about coronavirus and vaccines. But she says anyone can be at risk.
Our studies have shown that heavier use of social media, be it right-leaning or left-leaning, you're equally susceptible to fake news.
A recent study found that between August 2020 and January 2021, misinformation on Facebook got 6 times the number of likes, shares, and interactions on the platform as did trustworthy news sources.
There was a rumor that spread a lot on Twitter and other places that the CEO of Pfizer had actually chosen to not be vaccinated. And you can imagine how that would really resonate with people. What does that tell us about the safety of it? And that is, of course, completely false.
Craig Silverman is a journalist who's been reporting on online rumors, disinformation, and media manipulation for more than a decade. He's the author of a series of handbooks on information verification that are available for free online. Healthy skepticism, he says, is key.
When somebody has sent you something, read it. Notice your reaction to it, whether you're instantly accepting or rejecting it. Take a moment and ask yourself, well, where did this come from?
Silverman says there are tools you can use to verify, for example, the sources of images that could be used inaccurately.
You can either point to the address of an image online or upload an image to tools like Google Reverse Image Search or a tool like TinEye or Yandex Image Search. And it will actually show you all the other places online that that image has been found in their database.
Public schools across the country are seeing a decline in enrollment, which could lead to less funding. Now districts are trying different tactics to try to attract more students.
Fall of 2019 to fall of 2020. We had a decline in enrollment of about 3.75%.
Which was driven largely by pandemic effects, although there are demographic effects underlying it.
Public school enrollment is declining across the country. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, it dropped by 2.9 million from 2019 to 2020. The decline in enrollment can mean less funding for school districts.
When you're growing or when you're shrinking, schools and districts are funded based on the number of students that you have. And so, I think as with any challenge, you just need to sort of ask yourself, how do we best serve our students?
There are multiple reasons why enrollment dropped. The pandemic is part of the issue, but experts also say people are simply having fewer kids.
I think our schools are being really creative to try to meet students where they are and to try to offer families a great range of choices for the kind of school that they're looking for their students.
Liz Mendez with Denver Public Schools Enrollment says some districts like theirs open up their schools for tours to enroll kids.
We actually have our school choice process open right now. We've got a month-long period where families who are in a transition grade, so students who are moving from elementary to middle or middle to high school, or even entering elementary for the first time, can go in and take a look at all of the schools that we have in DPS, starting with their neighborhood or boundary school, and then take a look at other options that might be a better fit.
Kate Bartlett with the Colorado Department of Education says districts are also using remote learning as a way to keep students enrolled in public schools.
Instead of having to transfer your child into an online school, you could have them be served by a remote learning program that kept them connected to their brick and mortar school, so that hopefully once the pandemic is over, those students simply go back to their neighborhood schools.
However, some states aren't allowing remote learning. Dan Domenech with the American Association of School Administrators says that could hurt enrollment, but he says those states and districts do have some different options to improve those numbers.
There were some districts that were kind of innovative to the extent that they actually contracted with summer camp programs. And the program is offered, so it was a combination of a summer camp experience with learning taking place. There are other organizations that have partnered with community-based agencies that will reach out and provide instruction to those students. They've hired tutors to be able to do that.
Mendez says enrollment problems can lead to a cycle of schools closing down during low times and opening up more schools during high enrollment times. But all three educators say the best practice is for districts to continue to adjust in order to retain their students. I'm Thomas Hopper.
Sorry, red wine drinkers, that glass you enjoy and think is good for your heart isn't. That's according to a new study by the World Health Federation. The group, which is made up of hundreds of heart associations around the world, says no amount of alcohol consumption is safe. Its study indicates any amount of alcohol can contribute to cardiovascular problems, including heart attack and stroke. The study also blames nearly 2.4 million deaths in 2019 on alcohol. The findings are in contrast to the American Heart Association's stance that moderation is key when it comes to booze.
And we're talking about a nice day out there today, though a little on the cooler side, mid-50s, and we should normally be in the lower 60s this time of year. Tonight, a freeze coming in. Don't worry about the pipes, but bring in the pets and the plants as temperatures be going down to the freezing point and some 20s in there. 66 Saturday, 68 on Sunday. You're going to love the weekend. You need to get outside and enjoy it because we're getting some rain chances in on Monday. And then one nice day Tuesday before a strong front arrives. That's going to knock our temperatures down into the 40s as we head into Thursday and Friday, maybe even some highs in the 30s.
My sophomore year, we had just taken a spring break trip to New Orleans, and as soon as we got back off the bus, it was school is shutting down, pack up, head home.
There are nearly 20 million college students in America. The COVID-19 pandemic has made college far different than they expected.
I'm Marissa Jones.
I'm Emma Ernst.
I'm Reed Coyle. My name is Nidal Yasser.
And I'm a senior.
And I'm a senior. I'm a senior.
At Maryville University.
I think a lot more students have probably needed some extra support due to the pandemic.
If you think about it, we're juggling life, we're juggling friendships and also school and work as well.
There's a whole new branch of anxiety, not prepared for it at all.
In a new survey, 70% of college students say they're experiencing distress and anxiety because of the pandemic. More than half claimed they're more stressed now than they were a year ago.
Got me to like a depression stage, and I've never felt depressed before, and this is actually the first time I started to feel depressed, and I did not know what to do. I would come to campus, and after class, I wouldn't feel like talking to anybody. It was like really hard for me, so I would just go home. My mom told me the best thing for me to do is like go to a counseling and then try it out.
I'm Jennifer Henry. I'm the director of the Counseling Center at Maryville University. Even prior to the pandemic, universities nationwide were seeing huge increases in the number of students struggling with depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts. People forget that college students are barely adults. They think that they're doing fine, they can handle things on their own. But really, college is a time when students are expecting to branch out and be spontaneous. They're having this experience, but in such a different way.
With a lot of colleges, it's not even brought up, it's not talked about, and students have to protest or try to, bring awareness to it as much as they can, and they're still getting ignored, unfortunately.
There are some people who are having mental health issues, and they don't know how to take about it. If we don't go to counseling, at one point we will explode.
8 out of 9 college students say there is a mental health crisis on college campuses. Maryville offered a mental health day for students. They're instructing all faculty members how to address mental health issues. Colleges nationwide are introducing programs virtually and on campus.
A lot of students may not need therapy specifically. They just need someone to ask them how they're doing and to express concern and help them problem solve, which is something that any of us can do.
I do feel like, there's a cultural shift where it's starting to become more talked about, which is fantastic, and we definitely need that.
This musician is on a mission to bring back charm to his childhood neighborhood. Alonzo Stallworth, aka rapper King Yachty, made his dreams come true when he bought the block one abandoned house at a time. Today, he owns 8 different properties all on the street where he grew up in hopes of turning them into beautiful homes. He even had kids help him with the project to inspire them to pursue entrepreneurship.
I'm teaching kids that the life they want to live is attainable if they fight for it.
Mickey Smith Jr. has a passion for music. He teaches at the Green School in West Palm Beach.
If I can help them have an appreciation for music, and if I can help grow their personal perspective to see life as a huge ensemble.
Mickey keeps his classes interesting, but when he's not in the classroom, he's touring the country inspiring educators.
I love that red represents passion, and I think when you see a great teacher, they're bringing that passion. And I think it's so important because we're giving our blood, sweat, and tears out here. So when you see me on stage, it's not to be ostentatious or flamboyant. It's just a reminder of what you bring to this beautiful stage called the classroom.
2 engineers are taking their love for music in a unique direction. They developed inexpensive and durable 3D printed violins for children. They're hoping to collaborate with some local school districts soon.
We'd love to be a known company in the educational industry, in the music industry,